Mighty Booktube, Nikki here. Today I'm bringing you my very rainy February wrap-up. No sooner than I had pressed my record button did the heavens break open and shower the earth with love and liquids. So along with my dulcet tones, you may hear some ambient rain, birds, a garbage truck, but we will all deal with this together. So I'm going to show you all the books I've read in February. I'm going to go from my least favourite to Toad's favourite, although I've read a lot of stuff that I really enjoyed this month, so it's really hard to rate it. Firstly though, I'm going to show you two books that I reread. The first is Earth 1 by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank. Last month I read DC Comics Rebirth, the one-shot story that kicked off the entire reboot, and this is the same team that did that. I've read this one once before, but there's a number 2 that I haven't read, so I went back and read this one first so I could read the second one, and I loved this just as much as I did the first time. Earth 1 is a really cool concept. There's a couple of characters that have Earth 1 series like Wonder Woman, Teen Titans, Superman, Batman. Basically it gives you an origin story for these characters with a bit of a twist. So this isn't the origin story that you've heard a million zillion times, and it's not just the origin story either. It really introduces us to a very different Gotham that's very corrupt, a very weary Jim Gordon, and a very different Alfred. But it still keeps the spirit of Batman, and I really enjoyed it. The characters kind of look similar to incarnations we've seen on screen. Oh my gosh, if the frame just dramatically moved then, my bad, I kicked my tripod. Don't do that. Pro tip from me to you. First one's free. Each one of these follows a different villain, and this one follows Mayor Cobblepot. I think the next one is the Riddler, so I'm really excited to read the next one. I really love this. I'm all aboard the Jeff Johns train because he's awesome, and I think that this is a really good starting point for someone who wants to read some Batman comics because it doesn't tie into the New 52 or Rebirth or anything. You need to know literally nothing about anything. You can just pick this up and read. I also reread Snakehead, oh that's really shiny, by Anthony Horowitz. This is the 7th book in the Alex Rider series, and I really enjoyed it. We're definitely the part of the series where secrets about Alex's past and his parents and his family and stuff, they're all coming out and they're driving the story rather than just having formulaic missions over and over. I'm so excited though, because I just found out there's going to be another Alex Rider book. What? Yes, another Alex Rider book. And I'm so excited because in June we're getting a Skullduggery Pleasant book, we're getting an Alex Rider book, Wonder Woman's going to be a movie. Starting the official countdown of books that I haven't read before, we have The Wide Window, which is the 4th book in Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. I think this is the point that the series on Netflix gets up to, but I haven't watched it yet. This one sees the Baudelaire orphans shipped off to a guardian who makes them work in a miserable mill. I'm pretty sure I only read the first 3 of these when I was a kid. I don't think I've read this one before, but I don't know if I have because it's not exactly very memorable. The setting wasn't as exciting, but I think that's the point because it was a miserable mill. So I'll definitely be continuing this series, but it wasn't my favorite. Next we have All New, All Different Avengers Volume 2, Family Ties, Family Business. Crap. This has got a million different creators, so I don't know if everyone was working on this series at once. Looks like we had a few different artists, but it's written by Mark Waid. This follows the Avengers team that's made up of Tony Stark, Kamala Khan, Miles Morales, that Sam kid who's Nova, and Jane Foster's Thor. This can pretty much be separated into 3 bits. First of all, it crosses over with the event Standoff, which I really know absolutely nothing about and don't really have an interest reading because I think it's another one where it's heroes fighting heroes, and I'm just a little bit worn out with Marvel doing that right now. Then we get introduced to the All Different Wasp, who I kind of liked, but I didn't really see her purpose in the team as of yet, although it's early days. Except the next trade is literally the last one, because this series was cut pretty short. And in the last couple of issues, they're helping Nova search for his dad. It's one big giant fight scene, which some people complain about, but I love the way it's done. It really shows the awesome dynamic of the team. All the characters are great. I love them. I just feel like they maybe don't know what to do with them plot-wise. I think they had to cross over with a bunch of different things. The next one crosses over with Civil War 2, so heaven help us all. And I haven't read any Civil War 2 yet. I don't know if they ever knew how many issues they were going to get, so they couldn't flesh out any long stories and they just had to sort of cross over with other stuff. I will definitely be picking up the next and last trade though because I love this team. I love the dynamic. Having the older heroes like Tony and Vision and Sam Wilson. I forgot about Sam Wilson. And then having the younger members of the team. I think that's really great. So you can pretty much low-key just disregard the order that I put these books in because they're all really great. Next we have Heroes of Olympus, The Mark of Athena. This is the 3rd book in the Heroes of Olympus series by Rick Riordan. This is the series that follows the Percy Jackson series. I didn't even realize it, but it's been like a year since I've read the last one of these, the 2nd one. So the first 2 books kind of introduced us to all new characters and brought back some of the old ones. And in this one, we see them team up to make another awesome team. I really love this. Percabeth for life. I love the way that Rick Riordan just makes these really authentic characters. So I really enjoyed this series. I'm so keen to keep reading it. I picked up my very first Rebirth comic book, which is not one of the ones that I hauled last month, but instead Wonder Woman by Greg Rucka, Liam Sharp, and Laura Martin. Ages back, I picked up the first trade of the new New 52 Wonder Woman, which is the last canon of Wonder Woman, and I did not like it. It was very focused on the mythology. The art was kind of cartoony, and I just wasn't feeling it. So I was very skeptical about this series, but I was pleasantly surprised. So Rebirth gives us a Wonder Woman who isn't sure anymore what's a lie and what's the truth. So Wonder Woman, if you're not aware, is very much about the truth. She has a lasso and she can make people tell the truth, and she can use the lasso to sort of ascertain what is true and what's not. But that's not working for her. The lasso is telling her that she's been deceived. Dun dun dun. She can't find the Amazonian paradise island. She can't find it anywhere. She can't get in, and she's freaking out. She's also working with a bunch of humans, and we have Steve Trevor as well. And in the New 52, it was very heavily like just mythology, but I feel like we have more human characters to ground us, like Steve Trevor. Yes. What I feel this comic did well was balance this sort of turmoil that Wonder Woman is going through by actually making her a hopeful character. So it sounds like they've got the character right this time. Now, if you are picking up this series for the first time, and this is your first Wonder Woman, wait until volume 2. That sounds crazy. Why would you start with volume 2? Because this one collects all of the odd issues up to, I think, issue 11, and the second one collects all the even ones. And you're like, that sounds redonkulous. Because when they started this series, the odd issues give us modern day Wonder Woman, and the even issues give us her new Rebirth origin. So we can go back and see what her origin story is, because it's been changed a lot, and I didn't like the way it went in the New 52, I'm not gonna lie. So I am cautiously optimistic for the rest of this series, but I think it's definitely a Wonder Woman I can get on board with. I also read Vissa by Catherine Applegate. This is one of the Chronicles in the Animorphs series that I'm reading, which, if you haven't heard me talk about, is an out-of-print kids book series from the 90s. There's 54 numbered books in the series narrated by the characters, and then there's 4 of these chronicles which chronicle the lives of different aliens. And this one is about the alien who took charge of the invasion of Earth. And I really love the way that Catherine Applegate set up this invasion, because when you think about like 6 kids fighting an alien invasion and being the only people on Earth who really know about it, it's like, yeah, but could 6 kids really actually make an impact? But because of the internal politics of these aliens, they stuff up a lot and they want to see each other fail. There's another alien vying for that position that this alien has. It's a whole big thing. I just really love the way that Catherine Applegate put this well together. I think that these are so worth a read even now, and I loved this book. And lastly, we have a comic book history of comics by Fred Van Lente and Ryan Dunleavy. I bought this book a few years ago at Free Comic Book Day. It's the history of comic books in comic book form. It goes from the very first like sequential panels that got syndicated to different newspapers with a character called the Yellow Kid, to like comic book stores and how they came about, animation and Walt Disney and all of these different things, and I absolutely loved it. It took me a while to get through because it's quite dense. There's a lot of information. So they'll eventually have a color version, but I'm glad I read the black and white one because I think that color would have overwhelmed me. There was so much information. But I feel like I understand the comic book industry and comic book creators and all of that stuff way better. I really loved it. I think it was really well done. I think that the amount of information balanced with the visual styles that they adopted to reflect the time they were talking about was just amazing. I wouldn't recommend this to be your first comic book. I have a new appreciation for Jack Kirby. I super love this book. It was very enjoyable, and I recommend it for hardcore comic book fans. Let me know in the comments below what you read this month. Also, like if you like, and subscribe to see more of my bookish habits. I'm gonna go close my window because I can see the rain coming in. Oops. 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 But I will see you next time. In the meantime, tell me what books you are most looking forward to that are being released this year. Obviously mine are Alex Rider and Scarlet Creek Pleasant. That is all I care about right now. I'm kidding, there's other things. Are there really? No, there's not. Oh, The Sun just came out. Good timing, mate.